welcome back to another screencast. This one's on factorising quadratic expressions number 2, and hopefully you've watched factorising quadratic expressions number 1. If you haven't, go across and watch that bad boy before you start with this one. But anyway, what is a quadratic expression? A quadratic expression is any mathematical expression whose power or degree is 2. In other words, any expression that uses variables where the highest component or the expression degree is 2 is a quadratic expression. That's from study.com. An example of these are these ones. So we can see here that we've got x to the power of 2. That means that this makes this a quadratic expression. If that was x to the power of 3, it wouldn't be. Okay, so just remember that. But it needs to have that power of 2 there. The other ones there are good examples. We're looking today at when this back number is a minus number. Okay, we're still going to follow the same process as we did on factorising quadratic expressions number 1, but they're a little bit more tricky because it's a negative number. But in reality, I'm sure you will cope very easily with today's screencast. So we're going to go through the same process. So let's bring up our question now. Here's our question. We've got x to the power of 2 plus 2x minus 8. And we're going to do exactly the same as we did before. We are going to start with writing down all the factors of 8. Now you might say it's minus 8. We're just looking at 8 for a start, okay? If it was a positive 8, we'd still do the same thing. Negative 8, still the same thing. So let's write those down now. We've got 1 times 8 is 8. We've got 2 times 4 is 8. So now we're going to put out our brackets with our x's in. We hopefully learned that from the last video. And all we're going to do is we're going to go through this now. Can I make in any way 2 out of this and 8 out of this? So we're going to times together to give us minus 8. And we're going to add together to give us 2. So let's have a think of this now. 1 times 8. Okay, that doesn't give us minus 8. So let's just think about this. If I had a minus 1 times 8, then would that give me minus 8? Yes, it would. But would 8 take away 1? Now you say, but you said add. This is still adding in reality. Minus 1 plus 8 would still be adding, but it would only give me 7. So it can't be those ones. What about the bottom ones now? Let's say I make this one a minus as well. So I've got minus 2 times by 4. That gives me minus 8. I got minus 2 plus 4 or plus 4, take away 2. That gives me my 2. So therefore I've got it correct. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to write in my values, the two numbers I'm going to use, which is 2 and 4. And I'm just going to make sure the symbols also replicate what I've written, which is minus 2, minus 4. Now it's really interesting. I'm going to do this now. Okay, let's say I made minus 4, right? So I've got 2 times minus 4. That gives me minus 8. But 2 take away 4 gives me minus 2. So therefore I know it won't work. Around this way, I'm going to prove it works. So x times x. So we're going to x times x is x squared. X times plus 4 gives me plus 4x. Minus 2 timesing by x gives me minus 2x. And minus 2 timesing by plus 4 gives me minus 8. And I can see when I collect those like terms, I do get what I need to get for this to be correct. Hopefully that makes perfect sense. I'm going to do one more for you so you can hopefully sit back, relax and enjoy the show. And all I'm going to do is do the same process again, okay? So let's have a little look at this now. Let's write down the factors of 15 for a start, 1 and 15, 3 and 5. Now let's have a little think about this. Can I make this into minus 15? Well, I can. I could easily make that into minus 15, can't I, by saying minus 1 times by 15 gives us minus 15. But I'm never going to get anywhere close to the 2. So I know now it's going to be these bottom ones. So let's make this a minus. All right, so I've got 3 times minus 5 gives me my minus 15. But minus 5 plus 3 gives me minus 2. So I know it can't be that. So let's just change it round and go the other way now. So I've got minus 3 times by 5 gives me minus 15. And 5 take away 3, or minus 3 plus 5, does give me my 2x. So I know that that is correct. And that's what I'm going to put into my brackets now. I'm going to put in my numbers for a start. 3 and 5, I know those are correct. And I'm going to make the symbols also correct. And I'm not going to go any further on this one. I hope that I've proven that we will be correct. But you could do and arguably should check after each one. All right, so now it's your turn, before we move into the quiz, for you to do one on your own and just make sure that you can do it fully yourself. I'm not going to give you any help at all. Here's your question. You've got to factorize this quadratic expression. Put it in brackets basically is what I'm asking. Go do that now. Come back and see if you've got it correct. All right, so here we go. First step is write down all the factors of 18. 1 and 18. 2 and 9. And 3 and 6. So hopefully you worked out that I can make minus 18 off all of those. But I can't get anywhere near 3 with 1 and 18. I get pretty close with 2 and 9. I can get to 7, but I can't get there. So I'm definitely going to use 3 and 6. And now it's just a question of which one do I make which. So I'm going to make this one the minus, okay? Because minus 3 times by 6 gives me my 18. And 6 take away 3 gives me my 3. So I know that those are correct. Hopefully you did the same thing. Hopefully you didn't make the other one over here a minus, because that would have only got you to minus 3, which would have been incorrect. So next step, we put them in brackets and we put our numbers in. And then last step is that we just make sure that we put the right values for it. And then really good practice for you to check it before you move on, and then you'll know whether you've got it right or not. Okay, so if you've done really well on that, it's time for the quiz. If you haven't done really well on that, go back. Stop the video. Go back and just watch it again. Sit back, relax, watch it a couple of times, go through the process. Sometimes I do these really fast and you think, oh, slow down, Mr. Warren. That just means you pause, rewind. In the good old days when we had tapes, you don't have any tapes anymore, but they were cool. That's another topic altogether. Go back and do it again and again and again until it makes sense. It eventually will make sense. If not, always get hold of me and ask those questions. If you are really, really struggling, I'm more than happy to help. But anyway, do the quiz now. Come back and see if you've got it right. All right, so here goes our answers now. The first one, the two numbers that we were going to use were 2 and 7. On the second one, it was 4 and 5. And on the last one, it was 10 and 4. Use our brackets. Make sure you've got them around the right way. So we have got plus 7 and minus 2. On the second one, it's plus 5 and minus 4. And on the last one, it's plus 10 minus 4. Did I get that right? I think I got that right. Anyway, hopefully you've done amazingly well. Write a revision card on this. Write a few notes on it that you can use in future. Just think about the quality of your revision card is really important. The quality of your notes is really important. If you can look back in 3, 6, 2 years' time and it makes sense from what you're writing, that is when you know you've done a good revision card or a good note or good notes. If you look at it and it doesn't make any sense to you in a day's time, a week's time, or a year's, it's useless. All right, it might be good for that moment, but we're looking to build stuff that's going to be useful in the future. But anyway, until next time, all the best. Hopefully you've had a great day or a great evening or whatever you've been doing. See you later.